So welcome. This is the Town of Deerfield Selectboard Board of Health Sewer Commissioner meeting for June 11th, 2025. It is 6 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting, both Zoom and in the main meeting room at 8 Conway Street, South Deerfield, Mass. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcasts unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person in the main meeting room of the Deerfield Municipal Offices. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, anyone intended to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. So open the meeting, and got a fairly full agenda tonight. I'll call the meeting to order, and then we'll start with public comment for up to 2 minutes and up to 20 minutes. Anybody in the audience or online have a comment they'd like to share? Raise a hand. Anybody here on? Oh, we got a hand. Matt and Noel, welcome.
Bill.
There you go. Okay, take it away.
Hi, Select Board and Greg, Assistant Town Administrator. I'm sure you've seen some emails. This is Matt Tuttle from 1 Whately Road in South Deerfield. I just wanted to, again, put my comments on the official record about the Treehouse concerts. This year they've been pretty hit or miss as far as whether or not I'm listening to them while I'm trying to sleep in my bedroom. And to me, it really feels as though there could be some more regulations in place in terms of the amount of noise pollution that the Select Board is allowing. I know Tim Hilchey at the meeting, you said we should just get over it. And that there would be, and Greg, you stated that there would be more work on this issue, but to me, there hasn't. Treehouse came to the meeting, said they wouldn't grow their offering, and this year there's 31 concerts, which is quite a bit more than last season. Currently, it just feels as though, the quiet enjoyment of my property is for sale and Treehouse is raking in the profits. So that's my opinion. I just wanted to put that on the public record.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Any other comments?
I guess. I think, no.
Oh.
I just wanted to say something if I could, please.
Oh, sure, Noel, please.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to read an email that I sent to the town on Monday, as I would like the Select Board and the residents of Deerfield to know my experience with Treehouse for the last 3 years. So here it goes. I thought I was going to be sending this email at 8 p.m. this evening, but unfortunately, the sound check is taking place right now at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I work remotely, and it is extremely upsetting to not only have the quiet enjoyment of my home during the evening and sleeping hours disrupted, but to now have my workday impacted as well. If this was taking place multiple times at a residence in town, it would never be acceptable or tolerated. Forget 31 days and a 3.5-month period. To now have a concert before the concert is really pushing the boundaries and absolutely unreasonable. I would like to say that I have been a resident of Deerfield for 41 years and a taxpayer for 25 of those. My husband and I chose a home that is feet from 91, tens of feet from Route 116 overpass, and hundreds of feet from 5 and 10. I can tell you that between these routes, I can hear loud and clear the sound of the train as it blows through each and every time. I would like to think that one can appreciate the kind of noise that we experience and have for 25 years, and that our concern for the noise pollution from Treehouse has impacted our everyday well-being during the summer months. And obviously there's a situation that needs to be addressed, and I just wanted to put that forth again to you folks, that these are not two people complaining because they have nothing better to do.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you for your
Yes,
comment.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Hearings, we have no hearings and appearances. Select Board reports and announcements. I'd just like to start with, with the passing of Richard Dick Kalashewski last week, I believe. I just want to say a few words about Dick and what he meant to me and to the town as a whole. Dick Kalashewski served in so many different positions in this town, and I think when I got elected, I think it was 2015 or so, he was just a really caring and a special kind of person. He had so much knowledge, more knowledge than you probably should have, but he had so much knowledge and was always willing to help me kind of understand as a new select board member who didn't really understand how town politics worked or how everything kind of worked together. And being a Board of Health member as well as a select board member, he was right there to answer questions and guide me through. I remember coming in early or just sitting here at the table, before I would go off on my work day. Sometimes I get in here early at 6 or 6:30 or 7, and he'd be here and come over here and we'd chat for he would chat for a long time, but at least a half hour we'd talk about different things, and he would kind of educate me a bit on the history of this town and history of different things that we had done. And I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the things that he had done. In the late 60s, he was on the planning board. In the late 70s and early 80s, he was on the select board, sitting in one of these seats. And then from 2001 to the present, he was a Board of Health agent, Board of Health alternate, a building commissioner, a building department alternate, ZBA member, a ZBA alternate, and animal control officer. And he was so much more than that, because there was just so many different aspects of things that he did, and just knowledge of history of why we did certain things when and how things wound up certain ways. And I just really am going to miss Dick a lot, and just his knowledge. I also wanted to thank his wife Flossie for allowing Deerfield to have Dick and his knowledge and experience for so many years, so many decades of serving Deerfield, and we're better off for it. If anyone else wants to make a comment, I just wanted to say those words.
Yeah, I think that I started with Dick Kalashewski back in 1976. He was on the Board of Selectmen at that time that appointed me as a police officer for the town of Deerfield.
Wow.
And he was definitely instrumental in making sure that I knew the different areas of town and some of the problem areas. And I left town and came back, and it's like he never missed a beat. He'd come right up to me and start telling me about certain things that were going on in town, and he did have his ear to the ground, and he was definitely a community type guy that just got involved with everybody. And there's people that, that again, in his position, that I'm sure that he upset, but a lot of the people, he did right by them.
He understood they had a big heart.
Dick himself had a lot of problems throughout his whole life, and he took it in stride and just kept doing his job. So
Yeah.
Kudos to him, and he's going to be sadly missed, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do want to second what Trevor said. A lot of people don't realize, and well, maybe they do, that whoever is sitting in a board position, like particularly select board or health agent who's out in the community a lot, that takes them away from their family. So, Flossie definitely was a part of everything Dick did for the community, so want to recognize her and for her loss.
Yeah, thank you. And his knowledge of cars. He loved Volvos. We would always talk about, because I had a Volvo Suno. So, what year is that? The problem you had with the differential, all those things. He always had some story about that. So I'll miss Dick a ton, and I can't thank him enough and his wife Flossie for their service to Deerfield. So, any other? I've got a couple other things I'll hit on real quick. I'll just recap. We had a Board of Oversight for South County Senior Center meeting last night. Email was sent out. We have been working on over the last several months just an update to our memorandum of understanding between the three towns. We were looking at, and this will come before the board, in the next several meetings. We were just kind of updating some language there of I'm trying to think, it was 19 or something, or maybe even before that. I think it was before that. We did. Yeah, it was definitely before 2019. There was a change in kind of the leadership of the Board of Oversight. We developed the MOU, and select board members kind of took over, one from each town, being the Board of Oversight. And we thought it was time to invite in a member of the senior center from each town, one member to sit alongside the Board of Oversight to help us, guide us. We're not there every day, but members who are very invested. So that was some language we put into it. It would be an advisory role at this point, but we'd like to get more participation of people that are there every day using the center. And then another part was kind of the split in fees, and we have been studying a bit we looked at the last 30 years of population. So we were looking at kind of how do we split it, the rate. Generally, Deerfield's are a little over 50%, and recently it's been 25% Sunderland, 25% Whately, and we wanted to kind of match it more to the population of seniors versus usage. The usage is actually fairly close to the same numbers, but we just felt we didn't have a lot of, we're getting more and more usage data by using My Senior Center when people come in and check in for different things. But we thought the population numbers, age of population, how many people in each town, that's kind of how we would split up the fee. I think we're going to be around 54%. Sunderland will be like 28%, and maybe, I forget what the other percent was for Whately. So that was another change we wanted to kind of talk about. So we're going to bring that before all boards and kind of talk about, that change. The other topic that had come up was, we've still been hunting for a space for the senior center, and there's an opportunity for 112 Amherst Road that is Delta Sand and Gravel. Craig Warner had offered as possible. We lease from them right now for our administration building in Sunderland. It's a unique space that could really be a great opportunity for Deerfield and Whately and Sunderland for the senior center. It's all under one roof. It's got quite a bit of square footage. It's early in the process where we'd have to understand, what the lease cost would be, what kind of renovations would need to be done, but it might be a solution where it could happen pretty quick. We've been waiting so long for a place to get everybody under one roof. So we'll look into that. It may not happen, but we thought it was a good opportunity to look at it and see if it's feasible. So we're just in the beginning stages of trying to find some expertise to help us with what we would need to do for renovations, and then, what would the cost be, and would it be palatable to the town? It's certainly a whole lot less than $15 million. So, because that, based on our last feasibility study, that was kind of the figure that we were looking at in both two towns, Whately and here. But so it's just another opportunity that came up. We want to all look at it, get everybody involved, and see what happens. Do some tours, and see what we could make happen. We had a MAFCO meeting last night. Tim and I attended up at Franklin, up at FERCOG, and that MAFCO is the Mohawk Area Public Health Collaborative, and it's about public health planning, so response, for disasters, pandemics, flu clinics, all kinds of things like that. So we're just working on budgets and trying to work on a new mission statement and rules of engagement, kind of trying to get everybody in the, I think it's 24 towns participating. Not everybody does participate, so we're trying to get more of that going so we can plan and make sure we have funding for public health. So that's it for me. Anybody else?
I'm good. Go ahead.
You got anything? No. Okay, so, yeah, just to follow up on what Trevor was talking about MAFCO, we're also trying to develop like an emergency preparedness response plan. You know, we've got all kinds of acronyms, MYIPP, and we've, you know, we're working on trying to understand what those are and remembering them, but this would dovetail with our emergency management plan that the town operates under when there are incidents like the flooding or, you know, if there's a train derailment or anything like that.
Yep.
So MAFCO's role would probably be subordinate to the overall command structure, but there's a definite health component that being prepared for is key to being able to respond properly. So it's definitely a critical point for us to get this right. And the only other thing I've wanted to mention is that if in any treehouse meeting I have suggested that town residents' concerns are not a concern for me, that was not an intentional statement. So I just wanted to say that I disagree with the characterization of a comment made earlier. Want to do everything I can as a board and as a Board of Health member to ensure that whatever can be done to mitigate disturbances caused by a lawfully operating business, I certainly want to do that.
Thank you. Grouping back to MAFCO, that battery that we got a grant for, I think, for backups in case we lose power and need to charge phones and stuff, that's coming in. So we'll have that shortly, and I think it's going to reside at the
DPW.
DPW. Yep. So they mentioned that will be coming in shortly. So
Trevor, so I think that
please,
the
go
thing
ahead.
is that what Tim was bringing up as far as the treehouse thing is that we've all been working on this to try to come up with a solution on that, and including spending our own time going out there and trying to figure out what's happening with this. So I think some of the people don't think that anything's being done. We are looking into it, and we're trying to find out the best avenue to take. But again, we have to do it legally. We can't just go up and shut somebody down. It just doesn't work that way.
yep,
So,
we'll find a
Yeah,
solution.
I think I was at 2 different nights. I went with Greg Snedeker on the night before the Taj Mahal Kevmo concert to look at the new orientation of the stage and what sound mitigation things they're attempting to do. And also went on another night when there was a more lively concert. So as a paying guest, but nonetheless, I was doing research.
Good.
I wanted to actually understand, because there's a lot of variability between one band to the next, and we're also working with the police chief to see what what kind of decibel readings we can accomplish this season, to see if some of the things that Treehouse has said they're doing is like having their own soundboard so they can have a little more control over volume, whether those things are making a significant difference. It could be that certain properties are located in specific areas that have other structures around them which could concentrate sound. So those are things that we can't really do anything about, but we can certainly try to make every effort to make sure residents are as inconvenienced as the least inconvenient sound disturbances as possible.
Okay, moving on. Ned is here. We've got, next item up is a health agent report. You want to hit on a few things, Ned, or do you have anything you want to talk about? You're mute. There you go. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. No problem.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Yep.
Okay, I'm having trouble hearing you guys.
Okay, I'll
That's
speak
why
into the mic. Yep.
That's okay. So we talked about the barn inspections, barn animal inspections. The letter is all set to go out with the tax bills. I do need your permission. Sarah informed me you need to vote on it. So in order to insert them with the tax bills,
Okay.
something that's not. So
Do we have a
that's
copy
what
of
I'm
that?
here asking for.
Yeah.
And I also have some comments on the treehouse.
Do we have a copy of that letter somewhere here?
We
I had
did,
emailed a copy a
we
while
did,
back.
yeah,
Is
we,
it last week, last meeting?
yeah, we did get an email, and I did respond, and we made a typographical correction.
Yeah.
And but the rest of the, I mean, do you want to make a printout in case the board members don't have it?
Yeah, sure. Greg's going to print it real quick.
Okay, thank you. Yep, just want to make sure I had it. All right. So you had a comment about,
The treehouse?
uh-huh,
Yeah, I did go over last night. I received an email complaint about the noise, and the complaint I got was some nights it's louder, some nights it's not. But I did talk to the event coordinator last night about it, and she said she'll try and address it. I don't know her well enough to take her word for it, but she did seem sincere.
okay.
I have heard from the fire department, maybe a couple other complaints came in, but I've only had one.
Okay. We've been keeping.
And I did borrow a decibel measuring device to record the sound levels from the street at the next event.
Okay.
So I think the next event I have to go to, I'll stick around for a while and take care of that.
We have been gathering any complaints, and I think Greg is keeping a file of them, so.
Okay.
Any you have, you could forward on to Greg, and we can all keep them all together.
Sure, yeah.
And Ned, while you're out there, oftentimes they have a preliminary act, and the volume for the preliminary act is generally lower than the headliner. So I noticed, at the concert that I attended, the first group of people were much lower volume, and then
Okay.
the second act was standard volume for that kind of thing. So you want to make sure you stay until the headliner comes on.
Sure, yeah. And I did go over yesterday just to get an idea of how it works and how the measuring meter works. And during the warm-ups, I was out by the road measuring, and it seemed okay, but I know that's,
Yeah.
it's not the real show.
Sure.
But at least it gave me some sense of what they're playing at.
Yeah,
Okay.
and as Greg pointed out, the decibel levels themselves are less indicative than, the type of frequency that travels the farthest, which is oftentimes the bass.
Yeah. The low.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why Pete has his hand up, but Pete Law.
Oh. Pete, do you have a comment, or is that maybe just by accident?
I do in
Oh.
that
Okay.
my computer all the way volume maxed out and I cannot really hear you guys at all.
Any idea?
Why?
Take a look at that board, because can you hear me talking into the mic really clearly now, or is it just even still low?
It's just pretty low.
Okay.
Pete, I can hear you fine.
Testing.
Yeah, Ned, I could hear you pretty well too, but
Yeah, so it's our-
the select board is
It's
pretty pretty whispers.
It looks like it's our input into the system, because certainly in the room here, it's very loud. We can hear you perfectly fine. I'm speaking into the mic, so it's got to be I can't wait for our new building and a new sound system. Just
Pete,
so
can
sick
you hear
of
me
not
now?
being able to.
Yeah, Trevor, when you're just like close to the mic, like
Yeah.
really close,
Yep.
I could pretty much understand what you're saying.
Okay, and that's not good. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thanks.
Yep, we'll try. That's why we really request people come in person to a meeting. So hard. Not that you need to. Just saying, if it's really important. we'll do our best here, but I know it's just our input into the Zoom system, because in the room here, it's perfectly loud. We hear you guys great, but it's obviously our input is not good. So I'll try to speak up. We've got a copy of the letter here. Do you own chickens, cows, horses? Let's see. Let me just read this real quick. Do you know? Okay, this looks fine. It just gives them a quick thing to just how many types of animals and no fee, just kind of to gather info. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve this letter.
Make a motion to approve the barn inspection letter to be included with the next tax bills.
Second.
Thank you. We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
Sorry, I jumped in again.
That's right.
Okay.
And Ned, I really like the first sentence. It's clever.
Yes.
What was that?
I said I really like the first sentence. Do you own chickens, cows,
Oh, yeah.
horses?
It's good. Anything else, Ned? Are you good?
No, just with this letter, I think once it goes out, I plan to make a database of everyone that replies and what they have for animals. That way next year, I'll just be able to reach out to them,
Yeah.
either through email or something. We won't have to worry about putting it in the tax bills again.
Great. Thank you. I just
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah, one more thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard Cindy, tentatively we'll be back July 7th,
Oh, wonderful.
hopefully.
That's great news. Great news.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. I'm glad she'll be
But
better.
that's pretty much all I had tonight.
Okay. And I always want to take this time to talk about ticks and mosquitoes. So ticks are really nasty. They are carrying some awful diseases at the moment. And I think I saw an email or something talking about we do subsidize tick testing. So if you are bit by a tick, we'd be really grateful if you would send it in for testing, just for one, to know if if what you got bit by is carrying any disease. But it also helps the town, because we get to kind of and the region understand what load the ticks are carrying, what diseases they have, the number of them that are carrying it, how much they're carrying of it. They're just really, really bad out there right now. And mosquitoes, with all this water and the heat coming, it's also going to be. So, with tons of rain that we've had, and we have it, believe it or not, every Saturday since March and other days as well. Just dump those flower pots, any buckets you have sitting out in the yard, any tires. That's where they love to just do their larvae and hatch from. So, just walk around your yard and dump the stuff, collecting water if you can. It will help your area as best you can. That's all I've got. Comment?
Just on the subsidy, we're
Yes.
not 100% sure that we still have a subsidy for the tick testing. I'm going to check with Carolyn.
Yeah,
I think she might know. I know there used to be one.
Yeah, we used to have it in every Board of Health budget. We had like a small amount of money, and we would subsidize, like, I don't know, $15 or $20 or something like that.
Yeah, Ned did.
Excuse me, the tick line item on the budget was,
Ticked off.
it was blended with the infection control. So now
Okay.
it's all under infection control.
I see. So it's not separated out like it was, but there is
Right.
still some money in there. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Ned.
Good to know. It is super important. We really love to keep going on that.
Yeah, we did receive an email that was, somebody said, you should do what Gill is doing, I forget, or Conway.
Yeah.
And I said,
We do.
we were the first people to institute a tick subsidy, so let's figure out. And if we do find out between Greg and Ned, if you can find a way to get it onto the front of the webpage somehow.
Yeah, this season.
Because 'tis the season to get bit. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ned. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Tim,
we
I
have-
think you can always just assume Gil follows Deerfield.
Right. Okay, so we have a mountain of minutes that I want to thank Alex for, and everybody else who's participated in them. They were just trauma-inducing as I read them all. So I'm just gonna read these out. I'll make a motion to approve all of these. I'll read them out, and then we'll take a second and vote on them. We've got November 3rd, 2021, September 30th, 2021, joint planning board meeting. August 26th, 2021, joint planning board meeting. August 25th, 2021. August 23rd, 2021, joint planning board meeting. August 18th, 2021, joint Union 38. August 18th, 2021, executive session. August 11th, 2021, June 22nd, 2021, June 2nd, 2021, May 26th, 2021, May 25th, 2021, a joint FinCom meeting. May 25th, 2021, emergency management. May 19th, 2021, May 5th, 2021, April 7th, 2021, March 24th, 2021, March 16th, 2021, a joint FinCom meeting, March 5th, 2021, December 30th, 2020, December 29th, 2020, December 16th, 2020, December 4th, 2020, July 15th, 2020, July 1st, 2020, June 1st, 2020, and May 14th, 2020. I'll entertain a motion to approve those, or second on those?
We seconding or making the motion?
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilge, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
And could I just make a request that you check with Alex to see when we finish 2020, can we just, fine. We no longer have any more 2020s. I'd just like to know where we are.
Yeah, just find out, how much more. Yeah, it'd be great to have these all done. I mean, he's been doing a great job in catching up.
Oh, absolutely.
Those were hard years, really hard years. Okay, so discussion items. We have a contract with DPC in the amount of $75,450 for the Deerfield Whately Industrial Parks wastewater road connection study to be funded by the $100,000 State Community One-Stop Rural Development Grant awarded to the town of Deerfield. Anybody want to talk about that?
Sure, I'll mention this and just the item after it, so both 7A and B there. So just as a reminder, last year the town went in for a $100,000 rural development grant through the Community One Stop. We were ultimately successful in getting that grant, and what it funds is a study of wastewater connections between our two industrial parks, so Deerfield and Whately, which, if people are not aware, are basically right over the town line from one another. And then also a road connection between those. So the project had kind of stalled for a bit while we were hiring a planner. Now we've got Alex. She's here. She's been moving the ball forward on this, and she was working with DPC and VHB, who's VHB would be doing the traffic study portion of this to get their contracts in order. So at this point, we have a roughly $75,000 contract with DPC that you just mentioned, and then the next item would be a roughly $24,000 contract with VHB for the traffic study portion of that.
Fantastic. That's great. Great. I'm really excited this is moving forward. So I'll make a motion. I move the select board enter into contract with DPC Engineering in the amount of $75,450 for the Deerfield Whately Industrial Park wastewater road connection study to be funded by a $100,000 Community One-Stop Rural Development Grant awarded to the town of Deerfield.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilge, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
And I make a secondary motion that to have the chair sign for the board.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. I'll make a motion, I move the Select Board enter into contract with VHB in the amount of $23,500 for the Deerfield Whately Industrial Park wastewater road connection study to be funded by the $100,000 Community One-Stop Rural Development Grant awarded to the town of Deerfield, and have the chair sign.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim
Trevor
Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
There is also, so we had an email from DPC. We're right now in the middle of we have last year we got a grant, 2 grants from SRF, which is the State Revolving Fund, and that is for wastewater and drinking water grants to help towns kind of do asset management plans. So when we get a chunk of money, we can do some of our infrastructure. We can't do all of our infrastructure, but we start on the most important parts and kind of keep going. And so the grant opportunity opened up again for FY26. It'll close on July 25th. And DPC has a contract or a bid in here to have to go again and apply again to see if we can get more money from the state. And I think it's $3,750 for each application. We'd put in 2 applications. So the idea would be to, again, try to get more state money for doing work that we want to do anyways. I would encourage us to move forward with these grant applications, and then at a later time decide whether we want to move forward where the funding's coming from. Generally, the funding for the sewer wastewater treatment plant work would come from the enterprise fund. We don't specifically currently now have a fund for the stormwater. So I think the last one we used some funding from the wetlands protection or something like that. We had some funding set aside that we used for the first one. We'd have to decide. We'd probably have to bring it to fall town meeting and decide, depending on when they do this. I can't remember how long it is. It might even be next year that we would have to do it. But we could decide in the fall whether we had funding enough to do these projects and continue the work of cammering putting the cameras down in the piping and continuing on this work. So I just wanted to bring it to the board to see if you guys wanted to move forward with that or not. It's entirely up to you guys, but it seems to be the only avenue from funding that that we can get from the state. I looked at the awards that were done for this program for SRF funding. We had applied for the effluent pipe, never got any money. The only time the West seems to get any money out of this program is for asset management plans, because it's not a huge amount of money. But so I just leave it to the board to decide and talk about.
Well, I mean, one of them seems no-brainer in that we can just use enterprise fund money to pay for the application. Is what we're looking to allocate money for them
Just
to fill
for the
out the
application.
applications.
Correct.
And it makes sense to continue with the second one is the
Culverts and stormwater.
stormwater,
Yep.
and that's a critical infrastructure for the town to try and mitigate all the flooding that we get here and make sure that there's identifying problems in ground before they become bigger problems. So I'm in favor of doing it, and as you say, figuring out exactly which pocket of money we would withdraw to pay for it.
Right.
I'm in agreement with that, too. I think that we should try to see if we can get what we can out of the state on either one of these. And
The work's got to be done, and if this seems to be an area where we can at least get the state to pay 60%, then our match is usually in kind and some cash. So a lot of it is in kind, so that our cash is, more on the 25% range. I think the last bids were, and then we had a lot of in-kind services from staff and DPW and police and others that kind of have to kind of deal with like blocking off roads and all that stuff when we do the camera work. So I think it's important to do, and I would recommend it. So I'll make these motions and see how they go. So move the select board enter into a contract with DPC Engineering in the amount of $3,750 to prepare a 2026 project evaluation form grant application to submit to Mass DEP SRF program to fund Phase 2 of the stormwater collection system asset management plan for the town of Deerfield. And I'll do the second one after.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. And then I'll make a motion to move the select board enter into contract with DPC Engineering in the amount of $3,750 to prepare a 2026 project evaluation form grant application to submit to Mass DEP SRF program to fund Phase 2 of the sanitary sewer collection system asset management plan for the town of Deerfield.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great. Okay. Those. Thank you guys very much on that. Let's see. Next item is the police CBA.
Yeah, we'll pass over that.
We're going to pass over that at the moment? Okay. Packet? Oh, okay. Great. Packet. So we will pass over the CBA, and we'll move on to the police chief contract. So I would entertain a motion to sign the contract for the chief of police.
I make a motion that we sign the contract for Chief John Pachurik for the next 3 years.
Yep, this will be his.
And second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? This would be finishing. This would be his next, close to the last 3 years for chief, depending on what he decides. And this will be the term of the agreement shall be for initial 3-year commencing on July 1st, 2025 and ending on June 30th, 2028. And great. So all those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Thank you. These we sign.
You have one that we're going to sign?
Let me see.
Do we just need one signed?
Yeah, just one sign. Yep, okay. Yep. Oh, gotcha. Okay. There you go. Okay. There's a, next item is an ARPA dump body, $4,500 from the storm damage fund. I saw a quick email on this. You want to update?
Yeah, I'll give you a little background here. Matthew Morris, our DPW superintendent, just brought this forward. So I believe maybe a year or two ago, we actually had allocated ARPA funds towards a new body for one of the dump trucks. That purchase was made with ARPA funds, and then there's actually some labor on top of it that was not factored in, it seems like, in the initial allocation.
I see.
So there's a $4,500 gap. And so looking at available ARPA funds, it seemed reasonable to take a little out of the storm damage allocation and put it towards that so that project could be completed. So that was Matthew's request to the board.
Sounds fine to me. Okay, so I move the select board allocate $4,500 of the American Rescue Plan Act funds previously allocated to address storm damage to the DPW dump body project. A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. So that's done. So we have to set a poll petition hearing date. The proposed new poll locations are poll 87/62S and poll 8750M, located on Lower Road. And the proposed date is June 25th, 2025. Next meeting. Yep, that's fine with me. So, do we need to make a motion to do that, or just set the date?
I think
Okay.
consensus is fine.
Consensus says,
Yeah.
sounds good. Let's do that. That's good. It looked like it was only like moving a couple poles, and yeah, continuation of that work. So the Cable Advisory Committee, Tri-Town and Deerfield Cable Advisory Committee signed contract with Attorney Bill Solomon.
This is another item we're going to pass over for now.
Okay.
But just for context, the contract with Comcast is up the 10-year contract.
Yes.
So the Tri-Town Cable Advisory Committee is reconvening to renegotiate that agreement. And as in past years, we're looking to get the assistance of Bill Solomon, the attorney at law,
Great.
to help with those negotiations.
Okay.
So
Sounds
that'll be
good.
on a future agenda.
Okay, next one down. Okay, great. So we have board committee applications, general appointments, and resignations. So we have some FY26 appointments. We're going to start with the police department. I am wondering. I feel like last year we were able to just say as presented.
Yeah, and if you look, I wrote up a motion that.
Oh, you did.
should-
How kind. Thank you. I move the select board accept the recommendations of the police chief Pachurik for appointment of the police department full-time officers, special appointees, crossing guards, and emergency management personnel for the term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Wonderful. And then we also have our EMS appointment. So I move the select board accept the recommendations of the South County EMS Chief Sparks for appointment full-time and per diem personnel for the term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great. Excellent. Let's get back to here. So we also have. We have an alternate electrical inspector. Didn't we do this already last?
Yeah, so.
This is the second.
This
yeah,
is
we
this
usually
is
have
the
two.
alternate to the alternate.
Alternate two, right? Yes. I knew we usually have a couple in the wings just in case somebody needs a wire inspected. I move the select board appoint Ryan Gahagan.
I've been saying Gahagan, but
Gahagan?
Gahagan?
Got it. Gahagan. As wire inspector alternate for the town of Deerfield for the term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. And we have a couple appointments to the Economic Development Industrial Corporation, DEDIC. So we're so I move the select board appoint Ralph Healy to continue on, right? He's been on for years. Yep.
Correct.
To the Deerfield Economic Development Industrial Corporation for the town of Deerfield for the term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Who's this guy? Let's see. I move the select board appoint Robert Decker III to the Deerfield Economic Development and Industrial Corporation for the town of Deerfield for the term of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Any further discussion? I would just want to say thank them both for their service of many, many years. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. And then we have the Conservation Commission. I did look through the applications, and there were quite a few people were applying. I do feel like Darren Damaris would be a great addition to the Conservation Commission, so I would move this and hear what people have to say. I move the Select Board appoint Darren Damaris to the Deerfield Conservation Commission for the term ending June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? Or
I believe this was the recommendation of the chair of the Conservation Commission,
correct?
and we've all seen the resumes now. Two of the four candidates have extensive background and scientific background in this area, and Darren seems to have a lot of practical experience as well. So I think it's an easy choice.
Yeah, good.
And this is
addition.
to fill the position that was vacated by resignation. Is that right?
Correct,
It's a
yeah.
1 year.
Yep.
Yeah, just a 1 year. Yep. So I move that. Oh, I already did this. Yeah,
Yep.
term ending June 30th, 2027. Yep. So all those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. I think that's all of our appointments at the moment. I did mention, right, MAFCO and FERCog. I think you'll probably have a whole list of other appointments, right?
That's right,
For
yeah.
the board to
Yeah,
sit on.
we'll
and
be
stuff.
we'll be working with Cassie and Pat to get
Yep.
the full list in front of you on the 25th.
Okay, sounds good. That's great. Any correspondence? Town administrators, assistant town administrators reports?
Yeah, just, I think we already mentioned it at an earlier meeting on Monday, but just wanted to, again, relay, we've had the general contractor bids come in for the 1888 building project. The apparent low bidder is W.J. Mountford at just under $6 million. We were anticipating under sort of our rosiest budget, $6.5 million, under a less rosy budget, close to $7.5 million. So a $6 million bid is great. And so at this point, it sounds like they're fully intent on moving forward with the bid. We're working with USDA to finalize contracting for the $4 million earmark. And of course, as discussed on Monday, we've got a special town meeting when we'll just be acting to record a federal interest in that property before the project can move forward. So just wanted to relay again that positive news on that project. Greg, I think you maybe had a quick update on the Bloody Brook Monument repairs.
Well, I thought I'd let you give the good news that the repairs are finished. It looks great, and they did a nice job of sort of evening things out, and so we're back to a full monument again. So that's
Just curious, how did we work out the financial arrangements? Or do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I think because we've ended up having a bit of a surplus for the highway department at the end of the year, given that we didn't hire a super until midway through the year, but we had budgeted a bit more, so we did have some extra dollars around. And in the future, we hope to add that location to our schedule of locations, and our insurance will cover it.
Gotcha.
Hopefully nobody will be repeating that
We might
particular-
also want to put up some more guardrails.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask
Take
about.
them out. I mean,
Maybe
it's
some
just-
ballards or some guardrails would be nice.
Just in my short time here, there's a signature there. How many times people have taken that sucker out? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to, open it up if the board had questions about any other ongoing projects. Alex would normally be doing a lot of the planning updates, but unfortunately she's staffing a CPC meeting tonight. So certainly if there are any questions from board members on any projects, happy to address those.
No, just thank you for your work. At our special town meeting, we're hoping to extend the common, funding for a little while longer, and it'd be great to get that kind of working. And it would be it'd be great to kind of have another meeting with, once we kind of get everything laid out, another meeting with DOT just to kind of regroup and say, here's where we are. Once we have like all the underground information from DPC and we know what Elm Street's going to lay out like, and just be great to group all that together in one shot or close to one shot.
And I just want to follow up that I want to thank everyone in the administrative team that was working constantly on getting these general contractor and sub bids in for the 1888 project. We had 11 or 12.
I think we ended up with 10, actually.
Oh, it was with 10?
Yeah.
We had 10 general contractors file, which is great because our top 4 bids came in at or under, significantly under what we finally put the project out to bid for. So it's not an aberration that we got a low bid.
Yeah.
It's actually, a good sign for construction projects going forward that maybe things are getting a little more sensible.
Yeah. It's good. Very good. Okay, any other topics unanticipated?
No, and I just would relay on behalf of Alex that the one-stop application for further work on Elm Street was submitted last week. So, kudos to her to pulling that
great.
together. It was a lot of work, and I know she worked extensively with Matthew Morse, our DPW super, so appreciate his work on that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Something else, but I guess not drawing a blank. Motion to adjourn.
Will you be coming up with some language to put on the special about the special town meeting? To
Yes.
Be put on.
Yeah, so Greg and I are going to be working in the next week to put together a guide, which obviously it's only 2 articles, so it should be relatively brief, just explaining, what the notice of federal interest is that we're trying to record for the 1888 building, what are the impacts, what are the considerations, and then just, making the case that the CPC has already accepted that the funds for the town common project ought to be extended another couple of years so that project can actually be fulfilled.
I think when we dig back into that common project, I'd like to kind of follow the cost of the sign in front of Frontier. They're going to have a new, I don't know if it's a monitor sign. You're seeing a lot of these kind of, Greenfield has a small one on the common, but I was thinking it would be nice maybe in that redesign to kind of look at a permanent kind of sign structure as you come into town there, because instead of having like
Like something they
The
have in front
orange-
of Frontier?
yeah, like they're doing at Frontier, but
Like a regular sign
Like
that's
a-
got the town name on it, and then
Yeah.
it's got a screen underneath it.
that you could kind of just post bulletins on all the time instead of parking those trailers out there. We could use those more importantly for road closures and stuff like that, or other things, but it just might be an idea to look into when we get close to that.
Have
So,
to definitely take a good look at it to see where you would put it.
Yeah.
So that it could be seen by all different
right,
directions.
kind of right where it is now, but maybe not. I don't know, just a thought. But when I was driving by the other day, I was thinking about it. So, all right.
Yeah,
Motion to
and one final thought is that I want to make sure that people understand that the special town meeting that's happening very quickly is not because we're trying to pull a fast one on anyone. Basically, the
Speak
USDA
for
has
yourself.
thrown a wrinkle into the application process saying, now we want you to record a deed notification that says there's a permanent notice of federal interest in the property. It's a formality. It will allow us to close on the $4 million grant. So
Yep.
I just want to say that here so that if somebody asks in the next 2 weeks, we can refer back to this.
It's an item we very much wish we had known about 2
Yeah.
months earlier, so we could have
For
done
sure.
it at the annual
Yeah.
town meeting, for sure. Yeah.
And thankfully, we found out about it before we thought we were going to move forward. So it's all good. It's just, in this political environment, it's good to be fully disclosed, transparency. This is not something we knew about until a couple of weeks ago. So now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second,
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all very much for attending.
Thanks,
Good
Peter
to see
Hawley.
you in the audience. Always good to have people here.